Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. If you've been here before, you may know that I in 2024 and 2025 set out to wear everything in my wardrobe at least one time during each of those years. So everything had to be worn at least once in 2024 and everything had to be worn at least once in 2025. And I'm also doing that challenge again for 2026. And the 2025 one has just wrapped up. It's January 6th as I'm filming this, and I wanted to tell you how it went. So towards the end of 2024, and when I say end, I mean November time-ish, I still had a bunch of unworn items that I had to wear between then and the end of that year. And I didn't really like that. I didn't like that I had items that I hadn't spontaneously gone for. I didn't like the sheer number of unworn items I had at that point. And sadly, the same thing happened in 2025. Some of those items were even the same ones, I'm fairly sure, but I also did do a lot of thrifting in 2025. More on that can be seen up here if you've missed that and want to see it. And so a lot of the pieces I'd thrifted throughout the year had not gotten worn towards the end of the year, and some of them had been freshly thrifted at that point, but some of them had also been waiting a fair while to get worn, including also things I'd already had in my wardrobe at the start of 2025 were not yet worn towards the end of the year. And when I say towards the end of the year, I think I put that separate rack of items together, I want to say September, maybe October, I'm not quite sure. I did start the 75 Hardstyle challenge in the middle of October, so I think I was doing some setup prior to that, but if it was October or September, I don't quite remember. And I have been reflecting a bit recently on whether or not wearing something just one time in a year is actually enough for me to feel like that piece is getting the love that it deserves and also taking up a spot in my wardrobe that it deserves, I guess. And I don't have a set number of slots in my wardrobe. I'm not allowed 150 items and all of them need to deserve their spot. I could have 50 items or I could have 300 items depending on what physically fits. There is room for more items in my wardrobe than I currently have in my wardrobe, but I'm also not saying I want to fill my wardrobe to the brim. I also want to get a lot of wear out of my items, and it becomes impossible to get a high amount of wears out of each item the more items I have. And not all items are created equal, not all items have as much versatility, not all items are going to get equal amounts of wear, and that is perfectly fine. And I am wondering if just one wear in 365 days is actually enough, but I'm not quite sure what I mean by enough. Is it for me? Is it for the item? Is it for the other people who could wear this item instead of me? I don't really know, and I think that's a different discussion. If you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments down below. But again, I'm thinking that one wear in a year might not be enough. Whatever I mean by that, I'm not even sure what I mean by that, apart from the fact that I do want to wear my items a lot. I want to wear my favorite pieces a lot. Ideally, every item in my wardrobe would be a favorite piece. That is not currently the case, but still, I want to get a lot of wears out of my clothes. But did I then wear everything in 2025? Yes, and also no. So I currently have some items, and I did for part of 2025 have some items in my wardrobe that are set aside. In my wearing, they are archived, but in my physical wardrobe, they are set aside. These are items that need to be mended. They have lost buttons, or there's a hole in them, or something else needs to be done to mend them and fix them and make them wearable again. These items I have excluded from having to, quote unquote, having to wear them in 2025, because if they aren't actually wearable, I don't want to have to wear them. I think that makes sense. However, I would like to have a much shorter turnaround time from when something is set aside and when it comes back into rotation, when it comes back into my wardrobe and when I can start wearing it again. There were pieces that didn't get a single wear last year because they were set aside to be mended, and then I didn't get around to mending them, or the idea of mending them felt so overwhelming to me. And that is a personal block that I have. That is a thing that I should get over, or I should outsource it either to my dear, sweet, lovely husband, who is very skilled when it comes to these things and very patient when it comes to these things, or to a tailor or seamstress or someone who can do that for me as well, because I do have good items that are not getting worn because they're not in rotation, because they are waiting to be mended, and I want them back and I want to wear them. But if we ignore those items that are set aside, I did wear everything that is in my wardrobe, and that includes like jackets and stuff that aren't physically in my wardrobe, but they are items that I own. They're just living in a coat closet and not in my wardrobe. But according to my wearing, there is still one item that did not get worn, namely this one. This is a reversible vest that I got in Japan in the spring of 2025. On one side of it you have a pumpkin and some weeds on the back, and you have these patterned lapels, and there's other stuff going on in the front, and if you flip it, it's just plaid. And I did wear this with the pumpkin showing, but I did not wear it in its plaid form. With it being just the one item though, I will still give myself a pat on the back and say that I did wear everything in my wardrobe, but I chose to put it into my wearing as two separate items because I will wear it, hopefully wear it, in two separate ways. And so I wanted what appears in wearing and what I put outfits together with in wearing to accurately reflect what it looks like on me. Now, it's never going to look 100% accurate because I've taken the pictures of the items on hangers, and on me they are three-dimensional and not just flat. But even so, I wanted to put together the outfits with the pumpkin version to have the pumpkin version, even though you don't see the back of the vest, but even so. And the outfits I put together with the non-pumpkin version to have the non-pumpkin version. So I didn't wear it in its non-pumpkin form, non-pumpkin form, but that is okay. I have still worn the item. It is, however, the only reversible item that I have, so it's a little bit special. I don't think I would wear a shirt backwards, or inside out, I should say. Backwards, that could be styling, maybe, but it is the only reversible item I have, and so it is a bit special in that regard. But I did then wear everything in my wardrobe, and there were some reflections, there were some thoughts. There are a couple pieces I've already set aside throughout the year, not very many. Most of the items I have set aside during the year were either things I set aside in my wardrobe clear out at the beginning of the year, and out of those I think 3 have now made it back into my wardrobe at the end of the year when I went through that box, and the rest has left me or are about to leave me. And I feel good about that. I've had the time to think about them, I've had the time to add them back to my wardrobe, which I didn't do for any of them throughout the duration of the year. Like, I didn't go, oh, I really wish I had this item, and took it back. Rather, at the end of the year, when I was taking stock, I guess, of my wardrobe and my wearing and setting up my cost per wear thing, I went through that box and I decided what I wanted to keep and what I was actually done with. But there were a few items throughout the course of the year as well that I put on and I was like, it's fine, but I could have worn something else. Or it's fine, but will I get enough wears out of these? For example, I have this vest, which is a velvety fabric, and then it has some beads and sequins and sparkles on the front of it. And I think it's really nice, but I do only wear it once a year, and I've only been wearing it once a year while I've been doing this challenge. And before I was doing this challenge, I wasn't reaching for it more. I think it got 1 wear a year or even less. And so I'm wondering if I should hang on to it, because I am trying to steer away from black clothes. I know I'm currently wearing a black sweater. This is actually one that I set aside at the beginning of 2025 and then brought back because I do actually really like it. It's a nice wool sweater. It's nice, it's warm, it's winter outside. I want warmth and layers and warmth and cozy and warm. But when I, towards the end of 2025, went through my wardrobe and turned all the hangers and moved all the folded stuff around to do the setup for this year's Wear Everything challenge, so that I will easily see in my wardrobe what has been worn and what hasn't, there were a couple of those pieces, for example that vest, that I was like, should this stay? Should I pass this on? I don't really know. And I decided to hang on to it, as well as some of the other pieces that I'm on the fence about. See more in my tier ranking, for example, some pieces from last year that I'm actually not sure about if they should stay. And I'm thinking I will give them another go throughout this year. However, if I throughout the year feel like, no, this item doesn't serve me anymore, it doesn't spark joy, I don't like how I feel in it or how I look in it, I am allowed to pass it on throughout the year, even if I haven't worn it, even if it hasn't actually been part of an outfit. I think that is the best way for me to do this. I don't want to get rid of a bunch of items and not give them a chance and just you know, not want them anymore. I hope to want everything in my wardrobe, but if there is something that I'm just not feeling, I will pass that on. I'm hoping that will be very few items, hopefully 0 items. I don't have any set items in mind right now that will be going, because if I did, they should already be leaving and not wait around. But that is the way I want to do it, and it feels good to me. There is, however, one coat that I inherited from my mother-in-law a number of years ago. It's a leather coat, and it's never really been me, but I've hung on to it because it was a hand-me-down / gift. That's nice, thank you. It's also warm, but I did put it on in December and it does not fit me anymore. It used to be big and now it's snug, and that means that even though it's a pretty warm coat on its own, I can't layer under it, and also it's never felt like me. So I'm gonna double check with her that she doesn't want that back, and if she doesn't, I will pass it on. But that is where I'm gonna end this video today. I just wanted to kind of quickly run through how 2025 went, and also announce, if you've missed it, that I'm doing it again for 2026. I would love to hear in the comments down below if you also keep track of how many wears your items get in a year, and if you also try to make sure that all items get at least 1 wear. And also if you think that 1 wear out of an item per year is actually enough. I'm not sure how I feel about that, especially given that I don't really have any special occasion things in my wardrobe. It would be another thing if, like, oh, this dress I wear to all the weddings I attend, and I haven't gone to a wedding this year, therefore I haven't worn it. I don't have any of those items, so again, do you think that 1 wear for an item in a year is enough? Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon, so I hope to see you then. Bye!